Thank you so much for joining me in my craft room today. Hi everybody, it's Carol. And if anything could go wrong with the video, my friends, it was this one. I'm going to start out just sharing exactly what happened. I saw this wonderful, talented young lady on YouTube named Jane. Her YouTube channel is Painting with Jane. I got so inspired to do her video. And I have my Mac on. You can see it up there in the left-hand corner as I'm looking for the products. I had to run out to Walmart to get the scraper thingy that Jane was using. And she was using Mars Black. Now I'm okay with that. I have this full here paint. I don't know if that's 2 ounces. And then I'm looking... It's painful to even go back on this video watching it with you and editing it. I'm looking through and I'm going, you've got to be kidding. This is all the titanium white I have. Now you have to bear with me here. I have a paintbrush that isn't 1 inch in length that Jane used. It's 3/4 inches. No matter how I measured it on the ruler, however I spread it out, it still popped back to 3/4 inches instead of 1 inch. And I had the 2 tools because I ran to Michael's once already and got the one scraping tool I needed, the palette knife. And then I ran to my sister's. Oh yes, Jane, I went all out. I was so super inspired by your video, Jane, that I had to do an acrylic canvas. Have I done an acrylic canvas before, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. No. This is my first one, and as you can tell, I've never used a table easel before either. And let's just keep going, okay? We're friends, right? My camera was going on me, yes. So I had a paintbrush that was too small, that was smaller than Jane had said to have. I did run out and get the palette knife, Jane. Don't worry, I won't put you to shame here. I was watching your video to the left on my Mac. I was talking to a friend on my iPad to the left as well as I was doing the video. Don't panic, not right here. Can you believe I couldn't talk and try to set this thing up? I'm going, should it be up there? Should it be down there? Help! Barb, my sister, help me. What am I supposed to do here? And I thought, okay, I'll put it here for now. And you can see that my camera was not in the right spot. Of course, I was just so shaken with the fact that I didn't have the right size paintbrush. There we go. Isn't that awesome? All you have to do is unscrew the levers on the back and situate your canvas, which I bought. This is going to be the most inexpensive tutorial on painting you've ever seen. My other sister bought my other sister bought my other sister this easel for $7.99 at Goodwill. It's all heavy wood. It is gorgeous. I love it. Thank you, Barb. She let me use it as I exploded into her studio to borrow this so I would have a proper easel. You know, when you paint the bottom, I told her I can't have this sitting on a chair with a towel. Oh, because I'd never paint the bottom, right? So here we go. I started out, I had the tiniest bit of titanium white. Talk about the letter T, titanium white, tiny. So I thought, okay, well, I can use my gesso, right? I'll use that first and I'll keep going on the tutorial. So I thought I would just carry on trying to clean that easel as I was going because it was dripping glumps of the tiniest bit of gesso I had at the bottom of the bottle. It only went with my day, right? I had a little bit of gesso left on the bottom of this jar, and I was going to use it up. It didn't matter. I had to prepare, so I thought, okay, let's just prepare the canvas that I bought at the Dollar Tree or Dollarama or everything for not $1. My dollar store has nothing for $1, so I went there. I bought this canvas for $3. And I thought I would do the most inexpensive tutorial to share with you. Yes, you can paint a wonderful canvas, and this canvas is going to be for my daughter-in-law. No pun intended to my daughter-in-law because it turned out beautiful. I was so pleased with it. using inexpensive tools. And I don't think my daughter-in-law watches my tutorial, so I'm pretty safe. So here's my peaches bottles that I keep after I get these at Costco, the peaches, and then I keep the jars and put water in them for painting. Yeah, you thought I was going to say for canning. Oh no, those days are over. No, for creating, of course. And I thought, okay, I will just take my camera, which was losing light. And in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to do exactly what Jane is telling me there on the left on my Mac. I'm following her. Yeah, Jane, I know exactly what to do. Grab a lot of titanium white, a little bit of black, go on the side of your 1-inch paintbrush, which I don't have. And I grabbed my 3/4-inch paintbrush, and I was as happy as a lark. I was just going like crazy. And knowing that at any moment, oh yes, I was going to run out of titanium white. And I would put my easel down because I thought, okay, I can run and get something at Walmart, which is closer to me. And Jane said to make sure you leave these white in the center. I already measured and put the easel so I knew exactly where the center was. That doesn't mean anything. I didn't follow it, and you will see that later in the tutorial. And I'm going to show you how to fix that. Easy peasy, don't worry about it. Oh yes, we'll go back to that. But for now, before I run to Walmart to get my, as cheap as can be, that you can get at your dollar store actually, acrylic paint, because I didn't want to go and drive 40 minutes to pick it up at Michael's. So I chose to do this painting with an inexpensive dollar store. My dollar store is nothing for $1, but yours probably does. Dollar store acrylic paint that I got at Walmart, actually. I didn't go to the dollar store. I panicked. I thought, well, Walmart must have acrylic paint in their craft section, and they did. So I carried on right here with the wonderful Liquitex paint that I did have, the little bit of titanium white, and you're just grabbing a little bit of black. And if you want a professional tutorial, I will link. Listen to the rain. Oh yes, I had to go out in a thunderstorm yesterday in the rain and get this runny as anything acrylic paint that did not say titanium white. But I'm going to tell you how excited I was to know I was able to finish this painting, and my camera did not, it kept going light and dark. As you could see, it was like I was working in bright light, and then bam, the background went dark. I don't know what was happening, but I'm really glad to say that my husband bought me a new camcorder for doing tutorials, and I have to learn it yet. But I did this entire video with my old camera, waiting to learn how to use the new one. There was nothing I could do, so I thought if it keeps getting light and dark, I'm going to explain it first so you'll understand. And so here I am following Jane on my Mac. You can see there I am putting her in mute and talking to my friend farther over there. Yes, I turned her up. And I'm watching Jane on my Mac. Oh yeah, I'm getting everything situated here and getting my friend on there, and I'm saying, look at me, I'm doing this tutorial. I'm so excited. And I was, but see how runny? It was like putting milk on top. And I'm saying to my friend here, I don't care if I have to dry each layer and put this white over top. I'm going to do this because I have been so excited to get this tutorial out. I've watched this video at least 5 times, and I could probably do it by heart without watching Jane. There goes my camera. See that? It just flicks into darkness in the background. So we'll be painting by candlelight and painting by bright sunlight, back and forth. It's totally not my fault, folks. I'm sorry. Yeah, and so here we go. You want the left side fairly gray into the black, where you're going to put your buildings, and it's going to, you have to realize that the bottom, whatever colors that you transfer onto your canvas on the bottom is going to later on be the backdrop shadows in the water. So I try to remember to keep the bottom at least not totally black. I do want to have some lines coming down. And now I'm concentrating, okay, Carol, you have to get the middle because Jane has the middle of this white. She has a little bit of black lines down the middle, but I got so concerned about my runny acrylic paint, and that's why I'm not telling you which acrylic paint I used. And I think it would be wonderful for mixed media projects, just not for a canvas that you want to give away as a gift. Until later, I am totally satisfied with this painting. I am. I really am. It worked out well. I just had to blow dry it a couple of times to apply the white acrylic paint to give it some texture, and it turned out fine. But my camera issue there, I don't know what was happening there, but I kept going because I wanted to show you that yes, you can watch and be inspired by another creator's tutorial and follow it and have a great finished product even if you don't have the right tools. Yes, I'm going to say tools because I didn't have the right size paintbrush and I didn't have the proper paint. As far as my titanium white, it wasn't thick. It was a dollar store quality paint, but it worked. If you're still sticking with me here and asking yourself, why am I watching this? She doesn't have the right tools, her camera's not working, the paint's from the dollar store. Well, yes, all that's true, but my camera's broke too. Look at that, we're in the dark again. And but I'm going to resolve that, and I did get to experience taking some pictures with my new camcorder, which I put at the end of this video if you want to just quickly slide through it and you're already bored. But I want to show you that this is what happens when a crafter artist slash artist, I call myself, watches a tutorial and gets overzealous and wants to try out the project. And I think Jane will agree with me that just go for it. I mean, you may not have everything. Now, here's something else. I should have called this the tutorial where everything is inexpensive and went completely off course. That's what this went. See that line there? I'm supposed to draw that up farther than this actually. Yeah, I'm looking, okay, that's halfway and I should have it a third of the way up. This is not a third, that's a quarter. So I thought that's okay. That's okay. If you do that, if you're watching this and you've tried to do a canvas and you did this, don't worry about it because you're going to have water lines going across there. Oh yes, I thought, wow, that's going to make wonderful water lines. Yeah, so don't worry. And there's my sloppy white paint and my wonderful black. Now here's what you have to do. This is called abstract art, my friends. And all you want to do is, you're working with shades actually, right? And I'm looking over there at Jane, I'm talking to my friend and I'm going, okay, I just need to add some buildings here. And that building is supposed to be more to the left. And I kept it in here. You'll notice it's not in, I don't have a middle portion that Jane tells you to have here. So I thought, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm telling my friend, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to remedy this later. I'm just going to keep drawing my buildings. I realize I'm not in the center. And if you've done a painting and it's your first painting, you've probably been here and done that. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do here? Yeah, I'm deciding. Let's put another building, and you're just be comfortable with your palette. This palette has to be your friend, my friends. It has to be a palette friend. You don't be intimidated by it. Just slap that old paint on there. If you can just drag that color and you're satisfied with the color of your buildings and you can get enough drag on the end of it, this isn't the way that Jane describes it. This is the way a person that's just trying a tutorial out for the first time. I'm looking over there and I'm talking to my friend, having a good time. I'm taking my runny acrylic paint and having a blast. And I'm not worrying about the center part there. I just know that I have to have some buildings, and to the left and to the right, when they get taller, they get darker. That's all you have to worry about there as I'm watching Jane. If you're watching this, Jane, which I'm going to put a link to your tutorial, and somebody might email you and say, Jane, you've got to watch this. It's a hoot. Hey, that's okay. I'm I'm trying it, right? Give me credit where credit is due, please. I'm trying it, and that's what we do. We just watch something, and we just get so excited. We don't even think, do I have all the products? Because if I had thought that, I'd be working with, yeah, thick paint right now. Hindsight is 2020, right? So that's okay. I think this is a good tutorial for those of us that are beginners, and we get excited about a tutorial that we see a wonderful artist do, and they encourage us and inspire us. They say, try it, because they love to see the fact that they put a tutorial out and somebody gets inspiration from it and they go and give it a try, whether it turns out, you know, uh, it's certainly not going to be in a museum, that's for sure. I think it's going to rest in my daughter-in-law, my son's house, hopefully. But anyway, that was my goal, and I just want to encourage you. Yes, in abstract art, the beauty is in the beholder, that's for sure. And if you like texture, even though my white paint doesn't have any, you will get texture. You'll get texture when you go to do the beautiful lady in turquoise. How's that? Now I'm going to move forward to build textures with the white and the black. And I like it because the black is so much thicker, and putting it in with the white that's thinner really helps me. And I like to put some shading on it as well. And you'll notice that the right side has buildings that are lighter than the left side, and I go over and remedy that because I do want some dark. I'm starting to put them in here, and I'm having so much fun with that angled brush, and I'm using it again. And I suggest, if you do this painting with Jane and you follow her tutorial, of course, what I noticed that with the water is you want to make sure you remember to put it in a V so that it's coming down from the outer sides, the right and left side, and meeting in the center. And on the right and left side, you want to get some black paint. So I just took a little bit on the edge of my palette knife and I would drag it across and drop it a bit, so that, because water's not straight, you want to get a little jagged edge. And then I'm comparing apples to oranges here, trying to see how many buildings. You never have the exact amount of buildings on one side as you do another. So I wasn't too concerned about that, but I was concerned that I did get some taller buildings up on the left and on the right. And that in the shadows here, I get enough dark black and work it across to just kind of, yeah, moving it back there to absorb some of the paint that's coming down, that we put down, that we laid down at the beginning. And yeah, that will really help you with the actual water. And as you can see, I am moving my palette knife from side to side and I am dragging it down. And here I noticed that I did put way too much on this side. As far as water lines that were white. So I just took my brush and I cleaned it with some water. I dipped it in the water, and then I just painted up and down on the houses that I had drawn and started again. and that way it just drug the black down. I made the shadows the second time with the paintbrush, and then I started over. I want to make sure I had a nice crisp V mark so that it looked like the water was coming out and moving forward toward us, and that, you know, it was starting towards us and moving back and getting larger. So then we're going to proceed on to the lady with the umbrella. And I took my heat tool, I went over it, and now comes the fun part. I really did enjoy prepping for the lady. And the last thing I did, I noticed that I needed one more building right here. Yes, I was looking at it. And the reason why it looks so bright on the right side compared to the left is the bright light I have shining on it. I didn't have any light to the left. And I really should have, because it would have made a big difference to see the textures, to see the light and dark comparison. But it is not as light as that on the right side as it does show as I'm looking at it anyway. And now I'm just going over making sure everything is the way I want it before I start the umbrella. And that is a challenge, yes. I really love a challenge, and that was wonderful. So I will put in the description box the 3 colors I used. I didn't use the same colors because I was switching from red to the turquoise. Here I'm just drying it, making sure all my lines, I'm satisfied with them in the buildings. I love the texture. There's so much texture in this, it's crazy. Even though the white is so thin, I managed to sneak texture in there with the black and the white mixed together, and that was great. Now I'm just getting prepared to make sure that I like the way the buildings are shadowing down into the water, so the paintbrush really helps. I took some white and some black together, and I drug the paint down just a little more to make some rough edges so that they weren't straight at the bottom. And now we're getting ready for some fun, and that's putting down some tones. I put 3 different tones: light, medium, and dark. I put actual turquoise. I'll leave the names of the Liquitex paint in the description bar, but I put the actual turquoise, then I took it to a middle tone blue, and then a purple hue. And I will add the names there, and we changed up the tool. I'm now using the pointy palette knife with and it becomes so much fun handling these palette knives. It really does. So don't let it you know get intimidated by it. It's what I'm trying to say. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the Mars black off to the side for some shadow that we will mix in with the blue. And I'm grabbing some, as you can see, in my palette knife, and here comes a different challenge altogether. Now, you know we have texture on there, so we're working on top of texture. So I noticed I needed to have quite a bit of this paint on my palette knife. So I'm scraping it on there, knowing I'm going to have enough to complete this umbrella. Now I am watching Jane on this because this umbrella is very pointed. You will notice that on the left side of the umbrella, it's going to be higher, and then as you make the circle of the umbrella, you're going to bring it over and down. It's going to have this slope, and I will try to explain it as we're going. Right here, I'm just trying to see how much I need to have on there, and I need to get those points on the bottom of the umbrella, and how I chose to do that was different than Jane. Jane would take the palette knife and bring the point and just scoop a little bit out with the palette knife straight up and down with the point facing down, the handle facing up. I chose to draw the actual circles, like the half moons in there to get my points. So either way, they'll both work. And oh, I better stop here and just tell you, this is not the umbrella, this is the dress. I'm thinking to myself, what's going on here? No, I'm not stopping the tutorial. I'm going to keep going. This is the dress, and it swoops out in a beautiful half moon. And then just drag your palette knife and here I'm just putting the shadows in with the black, and I'm making some real textured swoops because I'm putting a lot of this blue hue mixed with the turquoise. It's just a beautiful color. And then I go back with the light turquoise. I bring my palette knife out to the side to bring the swoops in the dress, and I'll keep adding. As you can see, I add more paint because you don't want to see through to the houses. And I do want to have the perfect type of, let's see, I'm trying to think on like half moon on the left there as I'm coming down. I want to have it well proportioned. I'm just mixing some of the black in with the blue, and I'm looking to see right from the center of where I started. I'm going to move over, and right at the point I'm going to take my palette knife straight up and down to add her feet. And I know it looks like 1 foot, but it isn't. I was saying that when I was watching Jane's video. It gives you the illusion that her feet are just close together, her legs are close together, and it is kind of like a V. And now I'm showing you how the umbrella is going to be curved, but I'm going to do a close-up. It's going to be curved. There's the foot starting at the middle point, the point of the dress. Come straight down with your palette knife, and then you can apply the legs, the boots, whatever, right there that she's standing on, and I say they're long boots. So here we go. I start adding a lot of paste so that I can make some nice scallops in there, adding more texture, swooping it out, and I don't touch the legs at all. I got them in the exact position I want them, and that's right underneath the point of the top of the dress. And now I'm adding some shadows with lighter texture with the light paint, turquoise, mixing it in with the black. And here I'm just going to decide now, where do I want to start my umbrella? Because remember, we have to put the hair down. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm judging. Okay, I know at the bottom right there, there's going to be hair. And so I start to design, I actually start to design this umbrella, knowing that the bottom part has those peaks, those little points on it. And I don't mind drawing it in. It didn't take that much time to do that. I trusted myself drawing in the points like this with my palette knife straight up and down than I did to leave these, drag some like raindrops type effect with the paint. I rather that I did it this way, where I'm used to drawing, so this came more natural for me, just to put the little swoops of strokes in it that are up and are oval. That's what I'm trying to say, oval. As I was doing the umbrella, I was making sure that it had a nice clean edge as I was going around the top part of the umbrella, knowing that the left side of the umbrella was going to be higher than the left side. So as you're looking at it, the left side is going to be higher than the right side of the umbrella. The right side is going to dip down, but the top of the umbrella is not going to it's going to have a smooth transition right here, just as you're seeing it here. And at first, I needed to get the hang of hanging on to this pointed palette knife and getting my strokes in and making sure I got those little dips and points on the umbrella. And that was okay. I wanted to have some really nice texture in it. And right here is where I needed to grab a Q-tip because, and if you just dampen the Q-tip a little bit, you can take off the paint, the acrylic paint, because it is water-based, so you won't have a problem. Because the swoop here, I just got a little low, and I needed to make some of those little points that you have on the umbrella, and I found myself right here needing to take some of it off. So I thought, okay, I'll just grab a Q-tip and that'll work, because you don't want the dip to be, to come down like it broke in half, because you've got the water there. So I did have to remove that blue part right there. You'll see that. And I really could have covered it with the hair, but I didn't want to have the thickness in there. It didn't matter to me whether I took out a lot of the paint, just that it wasn't so thick. For when I applied her hair, I could get that swooping texture in it and cover the blue if I had to. But it turned out I didn't. You can see right here, I put some little marks in it so that it looked like a shape with the side of my palette. And I'm swooping down here, making it look like she's carrying it on a slant. Because you have the swoop in the dress, it looks like the wind is coming from the left to the right, and she's hanging onto that umbrella, and it is up a bit on the left and swoop down on the right. I'm going to make that transition nice and smooth on the top of the umbrella, make my little marks in it. I was really happy with the end result, I have to tell you. That's why, there, see how I'm taking that out with the Q-tip? Make sure you have a little Q-tip on hand if this happens to you, and everything will be fine. Now I'm making some texture. I'm grabbing some of that light turquoise, putting it in the dress below, making sure I add some black in there for shadow, and I'm really happy with the way that this turned out here with the Liquitex paint. So I added my shading here of black. I'm making sure that I get it in the dress as well, and it has a lot of texture. I really love that look of the texture. I'm taking the palette knife up and down to make the marks in the umbrella, and you'll see in the end result, it's just like icing a cake. Yes, I think having a cake business way back in the day, I'm talking way back in the day, helps me work a palette knife, because it is just like taking a cake and putting icing on it. Once you get the hang of the palette knife, it's fantastic, so relaxing, and I'm really pleased. I'm really happy that I found this tutorial, and put it in the description bar, like I said, so that you can take a look at the umbrella and the lady in red. Here I'm making the hair, making sure that I make some really thin swoops at the bottom with the palette knife, just cutting into the edges so her hair looks nice and layered. And there you have it, my friends. It is a lady in the rain, and with the turquoise umbrella, and you've got texture. You have, I'm just putting a thin layer on it here to add to the bottom, so that you have, you know, it's raining out, so you want to have some of that shadow. I'm making sure I have the black so under her dress, and I'm just pleased with the results. For my first time putting out an acrylic painting, I'm very happy with the way it turned out, even with my dollar store acrylic paint. So I just want to tell you to have, thank you for joining me, first of all. See that beautiful texture. I love her hair too. It turned out really nice. And see the way you have all the textures in the umbrella. Just giving my last little okay with my finger there, petting it down. And thank you for joining me. Enjoy the pictures. Have yourself a blessed week, and I will see you on the next tutorial.